Hi, my name's Arista. I am the winner of this year's Poetry Group 5 for the Hong Kong Young Writers Awards. So, I remember a few months ago when I was standing on that stage with the other shortlisted people next to me, and it was in that pause between the words when they were announcing the winners' names. It was just this feeling of apprehension, but at the same time excitement, because I knew how much effort I'd put into this piece beforehand and how much time and thought I had put into each word. So it really felt like a moment of validation for me when they did announce my name, but that was only furthered by me reading the other entries, because I realized, like, wow, these people have written really good stuff, and I'm really, really thankful and grateful to have been nominated for a shortlist alongside them, and to have won. It was a great achievement for me, and it really rounded out my writing career. I think entering a writing competition is important for every writer, even though I think writing is more of a hobby than an obligation for me. I still really like entering competitions because it forces me to think and respond to a prompt, as well as encouraging me to do my best, to put out my best work, and to really think about the way that someone else, a judge, might be approaching my work, which only increases its quality, I think. And for young students especially, it's really nice to be able to measure yourself against people of the same age, who have the same interest in writing. And so you really see, like, if you didn't win that time, or if you got a lower award that time, then it's not like you're very disappointed. It's more like you understand where you need to improve. Maybe you're even more motivated to try newer other types of writing, and I think that's what writing competitions have done for me, especially the Young Writers Award. I started off writing fiction, and now I'm expanding into poetry, and I do not regret a single decision I've made. And I think the community that I've gotten to know from this competition is just one that's really supportive, and one that has encouraged me to write even more. After joining the fiction part of the Young Writers Award last year, I decided I wanted to try it out again, but obviously it wouldn't be that helpful for me if I did the same thing, so I decided that I wanted to do poetry this time. For poetry, it's a different set of skills. I think I really prepared by understanding what exactly the prompt meant. So this year was New Journeys to the West, and I did a lot of research into what the novel was about, as well as what kind of time period it was set in. So yeah, this competition is a lot about understanding the history of the time period, of appreciating traditional Chinese culture, and I think that was really what influenced my writing. I wrote about a girl who was trying to search for more, despite coming from a very modest family of farmers, and I think that is a story that a lot of people back in those times would really understand, given that girls didn't really get the education they do nowadays. And so it's something that really resonated with me when I did some more research into the history of that time period and into the prompt. And so that's how I really prepared my story. The poetry category this year means a lot to me, not just because I get a trophy out of it, but also because it means that someone has read and someone has appreciated my writing, and the thought I've put into every single word, which is ever more so when it comes to poetry as compared to prose. But furthermore, it also means that my transition from a prose background to trying something new and really challenging myself in that respect has come to fruition. And that's only encouraged me to write more, keep on doing my fiction, keep on doing my poetry, and most importantly, try new things. I think that's what I really gained from this year. And recently I've joined some competitions in writing drama. I really hope I can one day learn to write good plays, perhaps even go into screenwriting. That would be a dream. Some advice I might give to a student wanting to join this year's Hong Kong Young Writers Award is that after reading a lot of submissions, I realized that there is a running theme, which is that winning entries usually have a really strong grip on character, have a strong grip on what the prompt means. So research into the prompt, research into the time period, try to create a character within that time period who really encapsulates like what that time period meant to China, to China's history. And even if you want to do something new, like put a modern character, put a modern spin on this prompt, it's still really important to know the values of traditional Chinese society back then, back in the time period when this prompt was, and then try to encapsulate that in a character that might have some modern flares or some originality. That's really important, right? Being original while at the same time also appreciating what the organizers meant by giving us this prompt. I think that's one great thing that comes out of the Young Writers Award is that we as students learn to understand, learn to appreciate and observe what's around us and what really shaped the way we are in modern society. Another, maybe more technical advice I would give is just read very carefully and think about each word. Especially in poetry, you want to have a style, have a structure, have a tone that really fits with the narrative you're trying to have, right? Because, okay, what I did was that I did a lot of iambic pentameter. It was quite a long poem, so it was very challenging for me to keep that meter going, to rhyme, to keep the rhyme scheme in AB form. That was really a challenge, and I know it's very difficult. Poetry is so much harder than prose in my opinion. It just doesn't flow out of you as easily. But don't be scared or intimidated by that. It's more important that you realize what's necessary and what's good for your narrative to be as impactful as it can, to come across as well as possible. And if that means putting a lot more time into the rhyme scheme, if that means struggling through iambic pentameter and having to change each word and cope through every line, then I promise you it is worth it. And that is what's going to make people really appreciate the time you've put into it.